Okay everyone, in this section we're going to look at the top four strings again, the drop two voicings through the cycle of fourths, and we're going to start on the second inversion of C major 7. So let's go ahead and hear these chords. I've got this chord, but I put it up an octave just so that we can move down. If you're playing on a nylon string guitar, a classical guitar, you might find that some of these chords are a little too high to play. In that case, just move the chord shapes down an octave or 12 frets in order to accommodate the guitar that you're playing. But for me, I can get this one up here. I've got C major 7, second inversion, and that has a 7th up on top. Then I go to F major 7 in root position. It has a 3rd on top. By the way, the root on this chord, the C major 7 chord, was on the 3rd string. And here, the root is on the 4th string. Now, we retain some common tones, but we get this chord. This is B minor 7 flat 5, or B half diminished with the flat 5 in the bass, so we're going to call that second inversion. B minor 7 flat 5 over F. Then we go to E minor 7 in root position, and our root is on the 4th string, of course. Up on top, we've got the flat 3. A minor 7, the root is on the 3rd string, and the flat 7th is up on the high E. Then D minor 7, we've got a root here on the 4th string, we've got a flat 3 on top. You know, some of these fingerings you might find are a little bit tricky. When I first learned these, I remember having difficulty with them, and now I feel like these 4-note structures are a little familiar to my hand. You'll see a lot of people play this chord like this. They'll play 1, 3, and then 2 with this kind of backwards bend, the collapse of the tip joint. I've never really liked this. I don't know if it's because my fingers are a little stubby, but it feels a little difficult for me to play. I don't use that fingering much, but some people like it. I feel like on the electric guitar, one of the differences in technique, especially when you're playing jazz, difference between jazz guitar and classical guitar technique is that we play bars and partial bars with all 4 fingers more often than we would in classical guitar. In classical guitar, we'll often play a bar with the 1st finger, but we don't play them so much with the 3rd, or the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th fingers. In jazz guitar playing, I think because of these chord voicings and also because of some of the intervallic structures of the music, we'll find ourselves playing even melodies and things with a lot more of that sort of approach. Part of it has to do with that the electric guitar typically has lower action and is a bit easier on the left hand, but you'll see that electric guitar players will often be playing with a flat finger technique, I call it, a little bit more pawing at the guitar than classical players who are playing with more curved fingers. And it has to do with both the construction of the instrument and the music that they're playing. But at any rate, I don't feel like it's wrong to collapse the tip joints for chords like this. I personally don't use it very much for that particular voicing. All right, D minor 7. Now, from D minor 7, we're going to go to G7. And here, the root is on the 3rd string. The top note is the flat 7th. If you want to alter this chord, you could play this chord with an A flat on the 13th fret instead of the 12th fret of the 3rd string where the root is. And then we end up back to this chord. We've seen this before. C major 7. So let's hear those one more time with a little less talking. C major 7 over G. F major 7, root position. B minor 7 flat 5 over F, second inversion. E minor 7, root position. A minor 7, second inversion. D minor 7, root position. G7, or G7 flat 9, in second inversion. And C major 7 with a root position here. The top notes are the 7th of the chord, the 3rd of the chord, the flat 7 of the chord, the minor 3rd of the chord, the flat 7 of the chord, the 3rd, minor 3rd of the chord, the flat 7 of the chord, and the major third. So you'll find that really useful because a lot of melodies emphasize the thirds and sevenths. So this particular set of voicings would be used a lot for chord melody playing, including the example I showed you before, the All the Things You Are. It has a lot of thirds and sevenths in the top voice. So if you play that song, you'll use a lot of these voicings. Okay, we're going to move on to the next section.